Leviticus chapter 7. This is the regulation for the sacrifice of reparation. It is a most holy offering. The animal for this offering is to be slaughtered in the place where the animals for the burnt offerings are slaughtered, and the priest must pour out the blood on the sides of the altar. Then he is to offer all the fat, the tail, the fat that covers the internal organs, the 2 kidneys, the fat that is on them and on the loins, and the best part which he will remove from above the liver and kidneys. The priest must burn these pieces on the altar as an offering by fire to the Lord. This is a sacrifice of reparation. Any male who is a priest may eat it, but it must be eaten in a holy place, because it is a most holy thing. As with the sacrifice for sin, so with the sacrifice of reparation. The regulation is the same for both. The offering with which he has performed the rite of atonement belongs to the priest. The skin of the animal presented by a man to the priest to be offered as a burnt offering belongs to the priest. Every grain offering baked in the oven, every grain offering cooked in the pan or on the griddle shall belong to the priest who offered it. Every grain offering mixed with oil or dry belongs to all the sons of Aaron equally. This is the regulation for the covenant sacrifice offered to the Lord. If it is offered as a thanksgiving offering, there must be added to it an offering of unleavened cakes mixed with oil, unleavened wafers spread with oil, and fine flour in the form of cakes mixed with oil. This offering then must be added to the loaves of leavened bread and to the covenant sacrifice of thanksgiving. One of the cakes of this offering is to be presented as an offering to the Lord. It shall belong to the priest who pours out the blood of the covenant sacrifice. The flesh of the victim of the covenant sacrifice of thanksgiving must be eaten on the day when the offering is made. Nothing must remain until the next morning. If the animal is presented before the Lord as a vow or as a sacrifice freely offered, it is to be eaten on the day it is offered, and what is left of it shall be eaten on the following day. But on the 3rd day, whatever remains of the animal's flesh must be burned in the fire. If the meat offered as a covenant sacrifice is eaten on the 3rd day, the man who has offered it shall not be acceptable nor receive credit for it, for it is defiled meat, and the man who eats it will bear the consequences of his fault. If this meat has touched anything unclean, it cannot be eaten, but must be burned in the fire. Anyone who is clean may eat the meat of the covenant sacrifice, but whoever eats the meat of a covenant sacrifice offered to the Lord when he is unclean shall be ostracized from his people. If anyone touches anything unclean, whether human or animal, or any crawling creature, and then eats the meat of a covenant sacrifice offered to the Lord, this person shall be ostracized from his people. The Lord spoke to Moses. He said, "Speak to the people of Israel and say to them, You shall not eat the fat of ox, sheep, or goat, the fat of an animal that has died a natural death or has been killed by a wild animal may be used for any other purpose, but you shall definitely not eat it. Anyone who eats the fat of an animal offered as an offering by fire to the Lord shall be ostracized from his people. Wherever you live, you shall not eat blood, whether it be of bird or animal. Anyone who eats blood shall be ostracized from his people." The Lord spoke to Moses. He said, Speak to the people of Israel and say to them, anyone who offers a covenant sacrifice to the Lord must bring a part of his sacrifice as an offering to the Lord. He is to bring the Lord's offering by fire, that is, the fat that is near the breast, and also the breast with his own hands. Then he will make the gesture of offering before the Lord. The priest shall burn the fat on the altar, and the breast shall belong to Aaron and his sons. You must set aside and give to the priest the right hind leg from your covenant sacrifice. The right hind leg shall be the share of the son of Aaron, who offers the blood and fat of the covenant sacrifice. For I have kept back the breast and hind leg out of every covenant sacrifice offered by the sons of Israel, and have given these to Aaron the priest and to his sons. This is an irrevocable statute for the sons of Israel. This is the sacred share of Aaron and his sons in the Lord's offerings by fire, since the day he called them to be his priests. This is what the Lord commands the sons of Israel to give them from the day they are anointed as priests. This is an irrevocable statute for all their descendants. Such is the regulation for burnt offering, grain offerings, sacrifices for sin, sacrifices of reparation, ordination, and covenant sacrifices. This is what the Lord commanded Moses on Mount Sinai when he told the people of Israel to make their offerings to the Lord in the wilderness of Sinai.